Hello and welcome to Geekatplay Studio Tutorials. In this tutorials, I want to look on creation of photo filter. You can download this filter from filterforge.com, and if you search for filters by Geekatplay, so right here you can find some filters that were created as well. You can find my photo filter. Originally I created this photo filter, then I want to have the same effect that I used to do when I do real photo processing, and when I use the film and different type of the paper to achieve different effects. Of course, some of them was bromide. I don't know if some of you remember this, anodized or chromide, different chlorobromide, different type of the papers with different effects. Some of them will produce a little bit anodized, will produce a little bit greenish effect. Bromide will produce brownish effect with a lower contrast or high contrast. Overall, I want to achieve this effect that used to do with a different type of photo papers. So that was my challenge to go ahead and create the filter for that. So in this tutorial, I want to look how I create this filter. So we take some steps and maybe help you and inspire create your own filters. On this one, it is processing filter. So it means it's require some image and it will apply the filter over this image. So I'm using this some macro shot of the flower for our test. And again, you can go ahead and download it and see how it's work. But we'll go ahead and start creating this filter from the scratch from beginning. So for that, you will need actually use it to Filter Forge Pro Edition Professional. So you have it Filter Forge Editor. When you do, let's click on Filter Forge Editor and we'll select Create a New Filter. Okay, right here we have our blank page with a blank kind of input. What we want to do, it is insert right here, and we'll take external, we'll go to the image. So you can notice right at this place we have an image, the straight unmodified image that we're passing into. If you're using as plugin for Photoshop, in this case the layer of the image you selected will pass as your input. Okay, so next what I want to do, it is apply some modifications, and we're going to add some additional layers and custom controls. So let's go ahead first. I want separate, and maybe we'll go start with a turn curve. So we'll go inside processing. Okay, sometimes if you don't know in which group, like I don't remember, you can go inside all and just go through all of this and find one we're looking for. And right here, okay, we'll just go ahead, place it right here. Okay, we have our tone curve, or of course it's expect source. We'll go add source, but also it's expected curve for our control. And for this, I want just take our simple curves, go to the base and connect it. The one thing what I want to do, I want to allow the user and user of this filter to control this curve, because this is kind of will be one of the main important to affect this. So for that, we'll go ahead and inside the controls, we'll add sliders. You can drag and drop sliders, or you can copy and paste, Control C, Control V on a PC machine. And I want to add to the base, to the start and end. So I needed 3 of those. Okay, and I will add this as detail curve. We'll add as base right here. Okay, we also set as another one start, and let's set this to 0. Again, this is default values. The user can still modify them, but it will help them just to begin with it. Okay, and this one, so we'll just name it here, and let's put this to the 100. So in this case, you can see how we can modify and allow the user to modify some of the options for our tone curve. Okay, so we'll write here. The next, I want split from this, and we'll add some blur effect. So you'll notice I'm extracting from image different information that I want modified and combine after all of them together. So let's go ahead and we'll go to processing. We'll go to the blur. Okay, let's connect to the source. And again, one thing I want a lot in the blur, it's connect control radius. So we go to blur, and let's set this one maybe to about 10 as default. Okay, and you know what, let's separate, add one more. And what I want to do, I want to take saturations and use a desaturation for this. So we'll add additional. So in that case, you notice we will use the blur for the smoothness of details control. So because some of the photo paper like iodine bromide or other ones, they actually provide a little bit smoother effect but less graininess, but they lose details. So we'll use it for this. Tone curve will help us overall control it, and desaturated, that will be just simple provide black and white base for us. Okay, so right here we have our three kind of separation for this. Next, let's start kind of mixing and combining between of them. Okay, one, let's add brightness and contrast. Here we're going to add it from our saturation, and for this we'll add contrast, and because this is will kind of affect grain, so I'll probably just name it grain contrast. We'll go right here. Again, this is kind of a description beginning, but when I start working normally, I'm going and I just readjust the names as they needed, so it will help us. Okay, and actually instead contrast, I will add this to the brightness, so it's kind of help me, even it says contrast, but it will control a little bit different way because we work with grain. The next one we're going to do, it's because how say it's kind of add grains and sharpness, we'll go ahead and add some of the noise to this. So let's go ahead, take cells and just saturate it. We'll go directly to the noise, and we'll take this brightness and we'll take as a background. Okay, and one interesting thing is because we do this will help us to create more of the grain inside our image. Okay, for this, let's just modify a couple of settings right here. We'll go to the roughness, and let's take all the way to the 100. Okay, we'll leave it contrast. However, the formula which one I want to use, will be average. Real. Okay, we also take a scale, and let's, you know what, just go all the way to 0, so you can see we start having this nice grains kind of appearing right here. We won't touch any stretch or any other options, and we'll take details and pop up all the way to the 100. It will increase slightly render time, but it will provide much better effect. Okay, also here let's look a couple things. So profile, let's modify and set as bacteria, so it will give it kind of more interesting effect. And you can say this point we have this grain that some paper will provide for us. Okay, now we're going ahead and start working with the kind of turn curve, and let's merge those ones. Okay, also, you know what, let's take contrast maybe all the way to down, maybe 12 or 14, so we have a little bit smoother. Okay, so right here, what I'm going to do is using blend, and we'll go inside the processing, we'll take a blend. Okay, and we'll take our blur and set as foreground, and we'll take a turn curve and as background. Okay, actually now let's go to switch to opacity, and we'll just connect our main to foreground. So in that case, our curve will control how they blend together. Okay, as well, we have a straight image and going connect to our background. Okay, also type of the mode for this, I don't want just blend, I want actually overlay. So we'll add a little bit nicer details, and controlling with a curve also we can control on amount of the blending will apply, blurring or details amount will apply overall to ours. So in this case, okay, will be controlled this way. So what I want to do right now is just start kind of mixing those together. So for this, we'll use it another blender. So we'll go ahead, drag and drop right here, and we'll take one from here, connect to foreground and our to background as well, and opacity. What I want to do, because it's kind of grain, we need to provide this control for the user. So we'll go to have it slider and connect to opacity. Okay, also, so we're kind of collecting, there you go, connecting to this point. Okay, we can go ahead and maybe pop up a little bit higher as default, but as a control, of course, user can change it. But this is provide for us nice right here. You can see on the image, start adding this grain to our image. Okay, let's take this drag a little bit more away. Okay, and we're kind of ready because we have it now. We can control details and blurring on our image as well. We can control grain. So this is color image. Now what I want to do is start work with a tone correction for our image. So let's pass that. And one thing actually what I want to do before we passing, I want to actually go ahead and take processing sharpening. Okay, and just add extra sharpening, just one more extra control for the people. So if they want to add a little bit more effect to the details, it's help us. And the same because it's with a grain, so we can control it. And I will take as well slider and control, just add sharpen to the amount. Okay, right here. Okay, we'll go sharpness, and by default we can just go a little bit lower, so it's just give it little effect. But again, user may modify this as well. And radius, the 20 is too high, so you want to have it between 2 or 4, and let's just give it 4 for this one. But you want to have it radius something around this one as well. You want to enable preserve colors. It will increase a bit time, but it will remove some of the edging. Maybe sharpener will add to some details. Okay, so at this point we're ready to actually remove colors. So let's go to the processing. Actually, it will be an adjustment. It will be desaturated. It's what we want to use it. We're going and just simply connect to this point, and we'll just use it normal weight average for this. So okay, right here, and you can see we're kind of stretching, but you can reposition afterwards. I'm just at this point try to kind of showing how it will flow. Okay, and desaturated, what I want to do, I want to actually split on a channels, and I'm going to create my own type of the channel. So for this, we'll go to create blend. Okay, we'll connect to foreground, and as a background we're using control. And with this, actually it's help us to have it power for this control. So we'll go right here, we'll set and let's call it red color for this. Okay, we can go ahead and control 40 for this one. So you can see overall we kind of simulating channel creation, but how I say, I want to do this manually so we can create a different type of the papers. Okay, and because we have 3 channels as RGB mode, so I'm creating 1, 2, 3. So we have three modes right here. We can go to connect them as well. Right here, instead red, we're going to use green. Okay, and we can just maybe bring a little bit down on a green color. And of course, this one will be our blue color. So we have it blue for this one. And you know what? This one is actually, let's put it even lower on a blue. So, and you can see right at this point, we're kind of simulating our different channels of the color. Okay, next, we're going to combine them together. Okay, to use this one, we need to go inside the channels and we'll select Assemble RGB color. So we'll use this one. And of course, first it's our red. We'll have it our green and we have it our blue. So because we provide a black and white information, but with this control, we can adjust this tone correction when it's give it bromide, give it a little bit greenish or bluish or a reddish kind of color. So we can control our tones with that. Okay, one thing also when you perform on photo paper and you do on a projector, it does projector with lamp creating sometimes hot spots. So you have to kind of more white or kind of brighter on the middle. So let's simulate this as well. The one thing right here, so we have it our assemble. And for this, we kind of start mixing together. Let's go create one more blender right here. Okay, and we'll go to create this as a background for this. As a foreground, we'll start creating our hotspot. Okay, let's go to frames. Okay, we'll go to select the frame, so we'll create right here. And just modify a couple things. So we'll go to content and we'll go to set our RGB to our content. Okay, we also go to add to inner frame for this. Okay, next let's select our frame, just same black for now. Okay, frame width, let's increase this to maybe about something 60. And you can see right here, we're kind of creating this hotspot at a point. Okay, width maybe a little bit bigger. Again, kind of you can play around to see. And as well, corners, I want way more rounded corners for this. So in this case, we're kind of projecting this lamp, how it will work on that case. Let's also enable proportional. And we'll just leave it fixed size in a line area. Okay, selected. So in that case, we have it connected, and we'll go ahead and add this to foreground image. Okay, one thing we can kind of need control this opacity, and for that we'll do another control, and we'll just connect to opacity, and let's call this hotspot. Okay, so we'll go hotspot and maybe just leave it down, set to 20. Okay, also on the blend, let's switch to the screen. Okay, you can see we have it a little bit wider now right here in the middle, so it's what creating when you're kind of doing projection from your printing on a paper. Okay, next things, what I want to do, I want to control also levels of our image so we can add kind of better details or remove. Okay, so we'll go inside the adjustments, select levels. Okay, we'll connect our source and we'll provide some user control. So for this one, we want to create couple sliders. Okay, let's call one is a black point, and we'll create another as a white point. Okay, as well, we'll take a black point in control here, and we can set maybe about 25, maybe even 23 as default. Again, those can be changed by user, but you kind of want to provide original set for this, and we'll take white point, connect right here. And you know what, of white, actually I want to increase a little bit higher, so I'll set 72. And we can also enable preserve colors if you want it for this case. But because we're playing a little bit more with the colors, with the tones, you maybe want to disable that at a point. It's up to you how you like to play on this filter as well. Okay, so we're kind of done with this. Okay, and I think we're actually done to create. So let's create to the source at that point. Okay, couple things what I recommend you to do if you're going to submit this filter. You want to go inside the filter and go edit filter information. And right here, example, I have it my own information. So we're going. So I'll just name it for myself. You also can put a description for your filter, and I do recommend description and keywords so people can search as well. If it's filter updated, you can put it reason, like for example, in my case, sometimes it's misspelling, so I just says, hey, fix misspelling here. Okay, so we're done with this, and now we're ready to save. And at this point, you can see we have a nice filter, and it's kind of bromide paper provide. Next, what you need to do, you need to go inside the settings and modify presets create. So as example, let's look on a photo paper that already was created. So for example, here, and you can notice I create different presets. So if I'm going and apply as bromide effect, greenish, you can see at this point the filters is adjust. I have a little bit more to the greenish as well, black point, and reduce amount of the sharpness and grain contrast going kind of down. So if we're going to our filter at this point, you can open as a reference photo and just try to match to that reference photo. So we're going reduce grain contrast because actual bromide doesn't provide so much on this. We'll go to the increase a little bit green, decrease, but again with this just slightly, so because it's actually almost black, just have a very, very fine shift to the blue or to the green, so it's kind of slight adjustments to achieve correct kind of look on this. And again, we can adjust details, but you can see, and when you create those presets, you always can go inside, going and select add preset. It's recommended that you have at least 9 presets so the people can select it, and you can name it. But again, in my cases, I just gone through different papers, photo paper result, and compare, and just created them. So when you use it photo paper, you can see it's have it all these different type presets for different papers. Again, you can go ahead create this filter as well. I recommend you to go online to Filter Forge. Just downloaded this filter, open, and feel free to look on this and modify and maybe based your own filters, just enhance from whatever already exists. Again, thank you for watching this tutorial from Geekatplay Studio. Please remember to visit us on the web is www.geekatplay.com.